Good morning, good evening, everybody. Welcome to the DAC European Qualifiers. It is the playoffs. It is the last day. We have Cloud9 versus Bears. Bears, who went up against Liquid yesterday and lost 2-1, have been knocked down into this lower bracket, have a second chance here. If they can beat Cloud9, they can face again into Liquid in the grand finals. This is all going to be best of 3, by the way, and it's not going to feature Cap. Jesus Christ, I'm tired. It's not going to feature me or Gods as a duo again. Apparently, Fate has deemed it that we just don't get to be together, with me having real bad tech issues yesterday, and then Gods having some tech issues today. I'm actually going to be joined by the sexy, sultry sounds of Tsunami. What's up, Tsunami?
Yeah, it's good to be here. It's a damn shame that someone intentionally sabotaged God's laptop stopped working unexpectely. But
yeah. Where were you last night, by the way?
Australia. He's
Mm-hmm.
not there, right? No, it's I'm happy to be here. I've stepped through Chinese Dota. I had a little bit of NA Dota. This is actually going to be my first exposure casting some European Dota, and it's good that I get to see the cream of the crop now with the final 3 of this DAC EU qualifier.
Oh yeah, this absolutely is the cream of the crop. I've been very impressed by Cloud9 and their just continual improvement. They seem to have some ideas, some strategies that are pretty unique to Dota right now. I think their teamwork and their the early 5-man aspect and the way they like to take objectives is probably faster than any other team, at least in Europe. And then Bears have just been super impressive. Like, holy shit, Bears have impressed the hell out of me. I actually did not think that they were going to be able to stick it to Liquid as well as they did in the upper bracket final. But they really put up a good showing. Then Liquid just seemed indomitable. They just seem like damn near perfect. They just can't be beat by most of these qualifier teams. Anyway, but we're going to jump into our draft for game number 1 in this best of 3. Earth Spirit is going to be a first pick for Cloud9. A little bit of a switcheroo from what we've seen. In the previous qualifiers, we always had Slordar as our first pick. Bears do grab that one, and waiting on their second pick now, which is presumably going to be some sort of support. It's going to be the Dazzle.
I haven't been seeing the prevalence of armor strats too much recently, but I guess in this fresh patch, everyone is kind of reevaluating everything from scratch.
Oh, Jesus. Sorry,
yes.
hold on.
Yes.
Sorry. I
no,
just...
No.
New setup, so I didn't have a very important mute co-broadcaster button. So you just started dual talk. Anyway, sorry, go ahead. A lot of minus armor strats.
No, it's cool. I lost track now, and you've ruined it all.
Oh,
no,
so
I've always considered armor strats to be one of the things that have prevailed through patch after patch, is that it's not really... I haven't seen armor in general getting too many modifications through bounce patches. And if anything, most recently in 7.02, Solar Crest got buffed to actually buff or decrease 2 more armor from 10 to 12 armor. So I've always thought that armor strats are strong. They seem to be in fads in the professional scene, but a Slardar and a Dazzle straight up shows me that Bears has something very clear in mind.
Yeah, but Cloud9 counterpick it pretty nicely, right? X is going to be a nice response to the Dazzle, at least. Sometimes his interactions with Slardar can be a bit hit or miss. Sometimes that Corrosive Haze gets the better of an Axe. But going into our second bans, we're probably going to see some of those push strats banned away. We'll see whether or not Cloud9 try and take out the Draw Ranger, while Bears immediately ban away the Luna. I'm presuming that has been a common thread throughout all the regions, is that we still see a lot of push strategies coming out.
So then, does Cloud9 typically play more reactionary? Because you said at the beginning that Cloud9 is kind of famed for their relentless push action, but here we see them kind of... I wouldn't say it's like a pure counterpick, because Axe is still good in his own right, but definitely specifically in mind for the Dazzle to pick it up second. So I know that the first time that Cloud9 and Bears met, Bears actually 2-0'd Cloud9, and they're the ones who sent Cloud9 to the loser's bracket. Now they're meeting again, so what's the plan here?
I think part of the interesting thing about Cloud9 is that we do not see the same hero picks, but we do see the same attempt at strategy. We do see with the, they'll pick up a lone druid and they'll run 5-man real early on. They'll pick up a lot of team fight potential and they'll run 5-man really hard. The hero picks do not determine the strategy so much. It feels more like Cloud9 have addressed this strategy purely to the 7.0 patch and the incentives that come behind, right? Being able to take the outer shrine, the tier 2s and turn it into shrines. Now it's tier 3s, but it does feel like Cloud9 are still keeping some of that 5-man, at least from what I've seen. But of course, every team, at least at this level, right, is not going to maintain a constant, this is the only strat we run. Even if Cloud9 do differ up their picks, they may also differ up their strategy.
Especially because historically, I have been seeing Cloud9 having issues ending games. As much as they love keeping the pedal to the metal, they kind of run out of gas. And so it's difficult to say, like, if you should really double down on what you know your team is good at, or you should be like, perhaps we should start to adapt to some of our weaknesses to kind of be like a more balanced strategy. And I mean, they ban out a Centaur and a Weaver, which I don't really see anything clear in mind, but these two teams have met often enough that I'm sure they have like signature picks that they're afraid of. I had mentioned armor earlier, so I can see the Weaver justification, but Bears respond with a Lifestealer.
Yeah, honestly, if you look at Cloud9's bans, it fits perfectly into a Lifestealer pickup. A bit surprising to me that Cloud9 are willing to let that strategy go forward with the Slaughter pickup and with the Dazzle behind it. Yes, it's going into an Axe, but I feel like, and they obviously are going to counterpick it, but I feel like it is one of those strategies that purely through strength of execution can overcome counter strats.
Yeah, so we'll see. So I know that yesterday I saw Baby Knight Broodmother mid, and I had asked earlier about what other 7.02 debuts we're seeing. We had seen Lycan by Liquid, and then I know we had briefly seen a Tusk, but outside of that, you said you haven't seen too much change?
Yeah, I mean we've seen some extra heroes a little bit higher priority, and some others. Bane was one of them. But I think most of there were a lot of talent changes, but I think a lot of them, especially when it came to supports, were seen around that level 15, level 20 category. The only one that was really notable, I think, was that level 10, 35 experience buff for Tusk.
And another hero with an experienced talent, Timbersaw, coming out. I had seen earlier today, perhaps while you were sleeping, Ice doing work as a Timbersaw, getting pretty much showing why everyone associates him with the hero. And I know that as far as offlaners go, Timbersaw may have fallen off a little bit, but maybe with these new talents, another modification in the 7.02 change, this dude might rise back to top tier.
Yeah, it seems like a pretty good response to what's picked up so far. He's going to have a little bit of issues with the control of the Earth Spirit, but he is going to cut the Axe down to size pretty quickly, and that is one of the more threatening figures for a Slardar Lifestealer. It does also mean we're probably going to be dealing more with a Slardar support, which again does subtly change that strategy. It means you're going to be a little bit less reliant on the Slardar early Blink Dagger and try and go from there. It can be I think, slower strat than the Lifestealer Slardar with the offlane position.
Razor. So then it's typically a priority for the Slardar, like you said, to get the Blink Dagger, but depending on where this Timbersaw goes, do you think he can serve as an early vehicle for this Lifestealer? Or are they more interested in just letting Lifestealer get farm until Slardar comes online?
I mean, it could be Bears take some of Alliance's strategy. Alliance, they're running Hand of Midas Lifestealer over and over again for Loda, and they were playing it a lot slower. And the Hand of Midas meant that he was still able to pick Armlet maybe a minute or two later, and so it wasn't like a huge huge gap in his timings before, and it meant that he had a lot more relevance later on into the game, and they didn't play it as, fast paced, where it was like, okay, Slaughter Lifestealer, we've got our Blink Dagger, go, go, go. It didn't feel like they had that pressure on them the whole entire time. And I kind of feel like that is where Bears is leading us to. Maybe the Timbersaw is mid, and it's going to be matched into a Razor. I am not a big fan of that, but I would much rather see Forev pick up that Timbersaw and them adjust their mid laner to the strat currently being run by Cloud9, because Cloud9 do have some pretty dangerous team fight potential. Like, they have a lot of early skirmish power, right? It starts with the Earth Spirit and his roaming potential and Bane's laning dominance, and then it goes rather quickly to Axe and his early Blink Dagger timings, because Axe can always achieve that, and then Razor is just a lane dominator turned into a mid-game steamroller. So I feel like Bears do have to get some early game power out of their mid, but also something that's not as heavily countered as by Axe or Razors as our Lifestealer and Timbersaw currently are.
Yeah, Cloud9 does have a ton of early skirmish, and it's also a ton of early skirmish that makes life really unpleasant for this Lifestealer. Axe with Call going through Rage, Bane with Fiend's Grip and early Nightmare that can set up into an Earth Spirit Silence, and then obviously Static Link if Razor decides to show up. I would probably prefer for this Lifestealer to do the same Midas kind of strategy that you considered, because I don't really think Lifestealer is going to be in a mood for fighting early on with the team that Cloud9 has right now.
Viper going to be banned away. That is, I guess, one of the few heroes that can match up. That would be probably a weird lineup, right? But Baby Knight with the Viper mid would be able to match up against whatever Bears choose the last pick, and then Razor would be the safe laner against a Timbersaw. You'd feel like all of your lanes would go really, really well.
Yeah, and it would be another counter pick against this Lifestealer. I am surprised that they're picking it so early. Well, I guess they didn't really pick it that early, third into the draft, but the Lifestealer just seems like he's going to have a lot of issues. And even though Bears does have a defensive support in Dazzle, it's not really the best at discouraging, I guess, relentless pressure. Dazzle can put up a grave, and then you're like, okay, you guys need to leave now. Please don't call my Lifestealer, and we'll see you guys later. But against this kind of like tanky team that Cloud9 is presenting with the Razor and the Axe, Shadowfiend not so much, but I guess maybe an Invoker, if it goes Quas Wex, can help with that.
Yeah, I kind of liked the Queen of Pain was the ban out from Cloud9, and I was all in on Queen of Pain in my head, because it gives you a vehicle for Lifestealer early on. It does scale decently well later on to the game, but it mostly gives you a big mid game threat that Cloud9 I think would have a harder time to deal with. But instead, we're going to go for the Invoker. It does mean it's a little bit slower than the Queen of Pain. We are going to, I think, be more reliant on Lifestealer and Timbersaw early than if they had been able to pick up a Queen of Pain mid. But it's still going to be a Furo Invoker that has been super dangerous. The Furo Invoker, especially when he was able to get Quas Wex, was mega aggressive. Like, oftentimes I feel like Bears are sacrificing laning phase to be able to establish dominance at around like the 15-minute marker through rotations. They seem to have a very good read of the game plan of the enemy. The very first game that we saw of Bears, they were actually super far behind. And they just played around the Furo SF. They played super conservatively, something that I think many teams would have abandoned. They would have tried to get very aggressive, try and get themselves back in the game. Bears, I think, have a good read of what to do when they're behind.
Yeah, I would like to see a little bit more relaxed, because whenever you see Slaughter or Lifestealer, your first impression is always like, oh, okay, these dudes are going to be constantly trying to find whatever they can with the Invoker, especially on top of that. And even though, like, I don't really know if Furo is going to be able to get away with going Exort Wex this game. I mean, he already skilled up Exort and going for Sunstrikes all over the place, which I think he went for 2 of them, which I always enjoy. But he needs it against the Shadowfiend mid. The problem is that as the mid game approaches, I don't really know how much of a contribution. Wow, he went for 3 Sunstrikes and uses a Shrine. I love this. I don't really know how much of a contribution he's going to be able to have in mid game team fights, which is exactly what Cloud9 has drafted towards, is mid game team fight dominance.
So you think maybe this is going to be a Wexort build where you try and get that laning dominance against the SF and then transition more into Quas Wex as you go deeper into mid game?
Yeah, especially if Firo does go for something like a Midas Ag early on, then I think that would be the most ideal for Barris, but we'll have to see how his laning phase goes, how much Earth Spirit wants to police the Shadow Fiend, and how much Dazzlo feels like helping out the Invoker, if even at all.
We are going to have the standard dual lane in mid. This happens, I would say, like 75% of games right now, but it happens 100% of the time when you have an SF. Earth Spirit is going to try and protect Baby Knight in the beginning and make sure that he's able to get that early CS. He rotates up, checks out if there's a Slardar up here, is going to get the roll in, get some damage onto Firo. This won't result in much, just enough to push Firo back, most likely, and hopefully secure Baby Knight some of those early souls, as he did go for Necromastery level 1.
This very, very early lane is so important. Make sure that Invoker hits level 2 as late as possible, so that by the time he finally gets Quas up, then he's already lost a fair amount of CS, and SF has gotten a fair number of souls.
No, I expected YapzOr to be starting mid because the Earth Spirit was going to be there as well, and we were going to see 2v2, but he actually went top to begin with. He's now going to rotate out, try and scout out the Earth Spirit, as he's always going to be doing these rolls down the cliff. Is going to nail Firo here. They do have the raises, so they can actually get a lot of damage done, potentially, but didn't feel comfortable diving past that. Now Adam with the body blocks onto Noya is doing a pretty good job keeping him from retreating, but not good enough for YapzOr to be able to close that distance.
Noya's done his job. Even though the supports rotated, neither of them were level 2, so Slardar couldn't sprint to get a crush, which he did skill up at level 1 was the crush, and Adam could have put a poison touch on the Earth Spirit to slow him down. So now that that's done, Noya's going to shrine up down bot with Hestajo, and I mean, Shadow Fiend's pretty comfortable now, 5-1. He's gotten a fair number of souls, and he's got this Wraith Band only Wraith Band and Fairy Fire, basically no real regen, and he's perfectly okay with how it's going, unless if YapzOr can find something.
He does take the 2-minute bounty rune, spots out Adam, grabs a double damage. Noya's not going to fight into that one. It does seem like mid is going to be what the whole entire game is going to be about, at least for the laning phase, because we've got two off lanes where they aren't very threatening off laners. The Timbersaw's matched up against a Razor, which is one of the few really favorable matchups for the safe laner against an off lane Timbersaw, and then you've got Lifestealer versus an Axe, who can easily shove that hero out. So both of the offlaners are not really threatening, so the supports don't feel like they need to be in lane at all times. Ryze is going to get a sleep onto Forev. You're going to see a maxed out static link coming in. Forev's going to have to Timber Chain away, and on it goes. Forev is just going to have to continue to wait out these static link timings, come forward for a paltry amount of CS and a little bit of experience on top of that, and it just kind of repeats its pattern.
Which is why I'm curious that neither team's supports are putting a bigger focus on blocking out jungle camps. Axe went for an Iron Talon, and I would think that Dazzle probably, especially in 7.02 with some... Oh, Firo, mid.
Kickback, medium raise, long raise. He does have the Fairy Fire, though. Sunstrike, and the turnaround onto Noya. Noya's going to be dropped pretty low, but it's going to be Baby Knight with an uphill hit to secure the first blood against Firo. Crush comes in from YapzOr. They might just be able... Oh, no, Noya. He rolled slightly right. Forev wasn't able to get the Timber Chain onto him. Still might be able to catch him, though. He does not have Whirling Death, though. So it's not going to be the easiest kill. He's going to have to do a little bit of right click. No, he missed the Timber Chain, and the neutral creep takes the kill. Oh,
that was an ankle-breaking demonstration. He did... That roll was... I don't think he had vision for the Timbersaw. I think he was just going for the quickest, the shortest distance roll from point A to point B, and they just passed each other, and both of them looked at each other, and Noya expertly gets out.
Forever really could have used that, because while he is countered quite heavily by this Bane Razor in lane, the Lifestealer, or sorry, the Axe, he may be countered by the Lifestealer in a 1v1 scenario early on. He can't really do that, the pressure thing that Axe usually likes to do, but at least he can jungle. Forev can't do that. He's got to try and get the lane working for him every single time now. He does have the lane pushed in at least, and it looks like he's going to be able to pick up level 4, but Hestajo is halfway through level 5 already.
YapzOr's on the prowl with this Invis rune, and Ace is, I wouldn't say low, but without a Whirling Death. Oh, but a Sunstrike.
And a Sunstrike. No, it misses. Ace is able to walk out of it. It looks like Ace would have died if the Sunstrike had hit. The sleep goes down, and the healing salves come in. So that small opportunity, again, a small window for Forev to be able to pick up a potential kill, or at least be around a kill, ends up being missed by Bears.
It's a damn shame. It's a level 2 crush, so I mean, you can't expect your starter to have like a 2-second duration already, but at least I think YapzOr saw this one mid ward get placed out, and then hopefully with a 100 gold sentry may be able to counter it. But yeah, right now YapzOr in the starter has not been able to find a hell of a lot.
Yeah, that was a weird rotation. Roll in. They still know that that Lifestealer's around, so I'm a little bit surprised Noya attempted that one. The crush is going to be missed, though, and YapzOr is going to be taken out by the long-range raise of Baby Knight. That was awkward on both sides. Noya rolled in, knowing Lifestealer and Slardar were still around the neighborhood, and then Slardar ends up missing. It's cool. Bears seem to be off as a whole. You know, Tsunami, I swear, they're actually really good at execution. We've seen really good things. Fada comes back in the mid lane. Sunstrike's going to miss, but maybe the kick. Not going to be in time. They do have YapzOr trying to chase down Noya still, but the sleep comes out from Rise. They finally get a successful kill on the board for Bears. It's like the 4th attempt by them. And a large part of it was that kind of weird rotation. You don't expect a Lifestealer. Yeah, they got him. You don't expect a Lifestealer to be rotating in the mid lane like that, but Fada's just, you know, going to be jungling half the time, so he figured he might as well gank mid, and this leaves Adam the safe lane.
I guess it's a perk that you have this semi-jungling core at such an early level, but still, you pretty much always prefer lane farm over this, and thankfully Fada didn't have to waste too much time kind of roaming in the vicinity of mid before he got that kill. It was just take a camp, let's go over, try to get an open wounds, and it worked. But it's still the free farming, well, I guess Razor has also kind of been jungling as well. So I don't know. Neither of these cores seem like standing still. Now bot lane.
Noya gets the kick in. Fada doesn't actually get off the rage in time, so Hestajo will get away from the deadly Lifestealer. That was potential kill opportunity again for Bears. I think that what they really want is to be able to get that Dazzle early level 6 so you can finally have the weave out. Ooh, top lane looks like they might be able to finish off Ace here with the pure damage finally coming in. They have the Chakram ready to go in just a second. Another Timber Chain, nicely placed. Forev does end up going to the tower and will end up dying for that kill, but well worth it. We said Forev is the one who's going to be behind as an offlaner, can't jungle like the Axe can, so the fact that he's able to pick up these hero kills really brings him back into the game.
And brings YapzOr back into the game as well. That kill earlier mid was just adding on to the number of unsuccessful rotations by the starter, but now they get the jump on the Razor, forces them to go back now. Meanwhile, in the bot lane, though, Hestajo's kind of hungry.
The kick leads into Hestajo, getting the positioning. He actually gets a little bit farther to the right to make sure he grabs the range creep and the seized creep to get the necessary spins to finish off the Axe. A very nicely executed combination between Noya and Hestajo.
And that was basically, like, this isn't the sacrificial support that we typically see, especially from a Dazzle. This Dazzle was level 5, so that's a pretty important kill. And what I'm learning here is that Noya is just always in the right spot at the right time, getting that kick on the Dazzle, letting this Axe come in with that. He had all the luxury to go for that range creep and siege creep, and now it looks like C9 might go for smoke.
Yeah, good timing for it. If they can get a rotation on a hero, I would say that they've actually shut down every single core well enough. Just seems unlikely without level 6 on Bane that you're going to try and go for a Lifestealer kill. It's kind of one of those dead lanes, right? You don't want to risk it too badly, so you'd much rather get the kill on a Firo. The roll in is going to miss as Firo kind of comes forward, but you do manage to hit the stun into the call, and that'll be a pretty easy kill. 3-5, Cloud9 picking up the pace here with that early smoke. Bears just going to be a little bit too late with the smoke of their own.
A lot of rotations mid. No one is in the bot lane right now. This Lifestealer is still looking for kills. He's roaming, and this is the 1 position. Now they might find Ace, and that would be nice.
They are going to be able to slow him down, and that'll lead into Forev getting damage necessary. It looks like Fada will be the one to pick up the kill. And this is we kind of expected this in some ways, right, from Bears, because we said they didn't have that really good like controlling tempoer in mid lane from the because of the Invoker pick. So they needed the Lifestealer and the Timbersaw to make up some of the ground. Fear's going to be gone on again here. He does have Dazzle behind him, so Adam is going to attempt to Shallow Grave here, but actually gets silenced up. Distance is there, unable to get off the Shallow Grave in time. Very well played by Noya. This Earth Spear is just so damn destructive. Top lane, Hestejo is going to be up next. Corrosive Haze looks like unable to get any Cooling Blade off. Everyone too high HP, but it looks like Forev may end up going down here, as Ace did nail him with a really good Plasma Field. So as the unpause comes out, you're going to see both Forev and Yapzor try and make their way into the trees. Problem is, well, I guess they got Arcane Boots, but they didn't actually have mana for TPs out.
My game crashed apparently at the same time as these guys' games crashed.
Oh, okay, fair enough. But yeah, this is a weird Lifestealer game, right? This is not the norm. This is not the norm that we expect out of Lifestealer.
He can get away with this, though, because a Razor is the enemy team's one position. Because if it was something like a Luna or a more traditional late-game carry, Lifestealer could not be pulling these kinds of shenanigans this early in the game. But since it's a Razor who it's not the real late-game powerhouse, then it's mainly going to be this Invoker and the Shadow Fiend that need to keep pace with each other, while the Lifestealer and the Razor kind of duel each other by joining these mid-game fights.
Right. So our Lifestealer doesn't wait out for the armlet timing that we're used to seeing. It also helps in part because, yeah, the Slardar, right? Up. Yeah, we're not going to see the early Slardar Blink Dagger, so might as well get aggressive before waiting for that. As you said, it's all about the early game right now. Try and stop the mid game that is going to be Cloud9's biggest strength with this Razor supposedly dominating team fights. We'll see. Ace has had a little bit of a harder time despite starting off with a complete safe lane and free farm. He is only sitting at 3,600 net worth due to a couple of deaths now and may end up dying again. We'll see. Is trying to actually go for early boots of travel. It's kind of interesting. Movement speed, obviously, a huge advantage for the Razor against both Timbersaw as well as Lifestealer. Two heroes that like to be able to close that gap. And Razor, if he can just kind of kite them around with the static link, could counter all their attempts at aggression.
Razor shouldn't be able to get away with that, but since there's an Axe tanking, then Razor doesn't need to worry about tanking, which is usually what Razors typically go for. Now we unpause.
All right,
52
let's see
damage.
If Rise can get the sleep onto any of these heroes. It looks like he's not going to be able to catch the Timbersaw. Yapzor kind of sacrificing his life to be able to make sure that core does get out.
Man, they actually placed a cliff ward to get that, and they only got the Slardar. I think they were hoping to get the Timbersaw and the Slardar, but now they have a pretty much useless ward over there, but yeah, at least they got one of the kills.
SF backs off into the jungle with the Illusion Rune that he picked up. He is going to have that... oh god, I'm losing my mind. Dragonlance. Anytime he wants it, and... I think at this point, Baby Knight's just got to focus on trying to become that later game threat and let the Razor and Axe take over, because I think Axe is about to reach his timing. Yeah, he's 2,100 gold. You can always expect an Axe to get his Blink Dagger by 14 minutes, even if he had a really bad lane, just because of his jungling proficiency. And it looks like Hestejo's going to get it around 22. That's if he isn't countered by Fada and Yapzor. Another aggressive smoke rotation deep into the jungle. Yapzor spots out Hestejo, tries to keep his distance, doesn't want the smoke to pop, but it is wearing down. It doesn't look like they're going to find anybody.
And now Axe does have his Blink Dagger completed, and I don't think Radiant knows yet, so they need to be very careful with the next fight they pick.
Yeah, you could see why Baby Knight opted to head back into the jungle. He was afraid of potential rotations like this one, and he knows how his net worth is all important right now. He is the big carry for Cloud9, so he's just trying to maintain a decent farm advantage and not lose it to the Smoke King's affairs.
And now Radiant does know this ward that, oh, and they catch the smoke. I'm pretty sure Bears is just going to dodge it, though.
Yeah, Forev. He's in the offlane jungle. Maybe Cloud9 head in that area, though very likely they're hoping to be able to catch Vero mid.
And they get scanned, so
yeah.
This is all according to plan from Bears. They're not really making much space of this, but they're wasting time for C9.
I think Cloud9, they've kind of gotten the heads up now. Like, top lane's pushing into an offlane tower and nobody's there dealing with it. Cloud9 are going to bring Ace in. The weave comes out. That'll stop Cloud9 from being able to take this tower right away, with the Meteor pulling back the creep wave and the Weave making it so they can't take the tower. They are going to have to back off, and this is just time well spent for Bears. They've finished off the armlet and gotten a decent chunk of change on Nafada as he starts working towards that Desolator. And Firo's been kind of half jungling with little issues. They're trying to pick up that Midas.
Oh no, Adam.
Adam is in deep. But that's okay. Adam, he gained information. Fada immediately TPs to the other side of the map. He's like, see ya. Thanks for the heads up, Adam. I'm out of here. We're going to head up to top lane where we know Ace does not actually have any backup. But can a Lifestealer Timbersaw do this together? I kind of feeling like they can't. The open wound slow is going to be enough to land a combination from Forev, but I'm not sure if Ace is low enough for them to be able to pop, and it looks like he does have an idea anyway as he sits behind that tier 1.
Yo, and this BOT move speed and level 1 unstable current 426 move speed, open wounds means nothing. It means nothing.
Yeah. Rage pops out. Fada continues to hit on that tower. I think they're hoping to be able to force some rotations, make sure that Cloud9 can't push into their own safe lane. And at this point, holding objectives, I think, is the best thing that Bears can do. These pokes of aggressions have been really good to slow down Cloud9's timings, especially on the Razor. But I think as you start getting deeper into the mid-game, especially with the Blink Dagger or the Axe, I think you need to try and avoid fights with Cloud9 and try and run them around the map. As they don't really have a huge credible pushing threat, right? Like, the SF has a good amount of physical damage and Razor is okay, but neither one of them is going to be the sort of like lone druid-esque hero that just mauls towers at 15 minutes.
Right. Whenever they're split up, C9 can't really push towers just by individual heroes, but when they all group up like this, it's a very tall order to defend this tier 1 bot.
Yeah, this makes it a lot easier, right? Double damage will make this tower drop pretty quickly, and the attempt is being seen by Bears pushing out mid, pushing out top lane, trying to get some threats on the other sides of the map in exchange for their tower dropping, but unfortunately the double damage just does it a bit too quick.
It feels like the priority for Bears right now is actually making sure that Firo stays protected. He did end up going for the Midas first item, and it looks like Ag is going to be the second item of choice. Blink, taunt on the Lifestealer.
Fada's going to be in pretty deep, but he does have the rage out just before the kick and will TP away. He's good. Rise comes in a bit too late.
Poor Noya. Yeah, he had the kick missed. He had the silence missed, and then rage TP out. At least they're going to get this tier 1, but that would have been a really nice kill on the Lifestealer.
They are going to be able to take more map control. Forev does respond. He was chipping away at that top lane tower the whole entire time by cutting the creep wave, and he finally does bring it down. Firo's going to try and farm up direct jungle, but C9 may be quick with the rotations. This ward still being all-powerful, though.
Yeah, and they have another smoke. I hope they don't use it here. Because, oh,
God. It happened again. All
right.
right.
This is one of the most maximum worth wards I've ever seen.
Is it high ground time? Sit on the shrine high ground? That is the best feeling when the enemy team is smoking and you could just sit on the high ground shrine and just be like, come into us. Just walk into us, please.
Give it to me. Unfortunately, the scan is down, so they don't really know the angle of approach. And the scan for Dire is up, and they know exactly where Radiant is.
They see Adam. Now, Forev is sitting out in the trees here, so they are going to quickly get an Adam kill, and that's great and everything, but Hester Joe's going to drop for it. Nicely baited out by Bears. After all, like, Dazzle is a hero that normally you don't want to bait out because he's your saving hero with Shallow Grave. But against an Axe, you can afford to lose that hero day and night. Like, who cares?
Oh, Noya, bot lane, getting sliced up.
Oh, the Sunstrike! It's not enough, but he does have the chase with the Chakram. Forev will manage to pick up that kill. Now, he is silenced up, so he's not going to make an immediate retreat. Baby Knight is here. He does have enough damage to bring Forev low, but the raise misses too. And Shadow Fiend is unable to claim that kill. So everything goes good for Bears. They manage to pick up 1 for 2, lose their hard 5 position in Adam, who, again, is expendable because of an Axe. And Bears are doing just what we talked about. Run Cloud9 around the map and just play a little bit reactively.
Man, he's absolutely expendable. Forev got 2 Bloodstone charges out of that, so they're just fine with that.
Hester Joe before he can manage to get the blink call. Now, the kick comes out. Noya is going to miss on the Adam. Looks like Adam is going to be the one that falls again. Adam's just like, this is my life. I accept it. I will always be a sacrificial lamb for my Bears.
Adam exists just to bait out the axe pick. That was his role this game.
Yeah.
The actual hero, the whole mechanics behind Weave and Shallow Grave, yeah, we'll see if that makes a difference. But right now, all these baits are being played to perfection.
Yeah, they certainly are. And it's actually because of Cloud9 are grouping up so much, they've lost map control. All these lanes are pretty well pushed in. Bears can feel comfortable. In fact, they've got a Desolator finishing up on Fada. With that big increase in physical damage, I think Bears do reach another spike where they can go out and meet Cloud9. They can actually be the aggressors, maybe with this Death Zone and Blink Dagger that they have. They don't have the Axe quite yet on Firo, but I think just like a little bit of 2-man or even 4-man, maybe they smoke up with it. They can just have a poke at Cloud9 and see if they can beat them and setting the pace of this game.
Especially because Firo's contributions for the most part has been Sunstrike. And, you know, that's just as viable as ever, Aghanim Scepter or not. And yet another smoke from Bears. And they're not ever infesting smoking. They're just kind of having Fada and Yapsor just hold hands as they go down and explore the enemy jungle. And they might find... Oh, there we go.
I was about to say, it made sense before, but now they've got the Blink Dagger. They see Hestajo walking over, who's the big counter to the Infest combination anyway. So they managed to jump him first, quickly get that kill, and start going for some push on the tier 2 at top lane. Now Cloud9 are staying away from that one. They're not sure where Firo is, and they do know there's probably more heroes behind Fada. So looks like they're just going to give up some chip damage. Do they even want to give up a whole tier 2? It feels like Cloud9, they should be reaching one of their peaks as well in a little bit of timing here, and I don't think they should be giving up any towers if possible.
I'm surprised that Bears is backing off. I mean, oh, never mind.
They go back in. Baby Knight's going to be caught by the Sunstrike. They just didn't have the backup. Ryze is way too late to be able to get a defensive sleep out there. Fada is going to be controlled up by the ultimate there. Fada is going to be run down. They need the Axo to be able to get the Shallow Grave. They managed to sleep him, stall him up. Fada's not going to be able to TP out. They will manage to get that double kill. But it seemed like Cloud9, honestly, their timings were just a bit off. If Baby Knight wanted to be able to defend that tower, they needed more of the C9 members to be behind him a little bit quicker, because that SF, it may have been 1 for 2, and they did get the Lifestealer kill, but you cannot be losing your SF in this game.
No, especially because you handed Forev another Bloodstone charge. And it is a damn shame that the Lifestealer did die, but that's a pretty even trade, because as we've established, Adam is a effective non-factor as far as it goes for kills. I mean, he's doing great. He's getting Graves out, which Lifestealer did get Nightmare to cancel out his TP, but yeah, I'm surprised that Baby Knight felt so confident. I thought the reason that C9 wasn't defending that tower was because the Axe is dead. And if the Axe is dead, then you can't really initiate on your terms. You just need to get crushed on and then hope that your Razor and Bane are in the vicinity to, I guess, do the counter initiation with Static Link, Nightmare, Fiend's Grip, and whatnot.
Yeah, if they actually had that, right? If they had, you know, defensive sleep on Baby Nate, maybe it dodges the Sunstrike or something, and then they have the Axe counter-initiating, blinking in, hitting the call, you know, then everything can turn. Cloud9 could actually win a whole entire team fight without losing a single hero, because they have the kind of heroes to win team fights right now. But they just need to have the right kind of positioning, and it does seem like Bears are one step ahead of them, right? They got the quick kill on the Axe, establishing control in the top lane. Then when Cloud9 finally decide to defend, his heroes come back up. They don't really set themselves up for the team fight very well, and don't dominate as they should.
And now, when C9 is going for the offensive, Invoker has the Ag completed now, so this is a really difficult push. Even though SF does have the Dragonlance and Razor both have Dragonlances, they don't feel confident going for this push at all.
Sunstrike does 537.5 pure damage. That is pretty rough. Open Wounds leads into Forev getting a small combo on Baby Knight, but Baby Knight is pretty big. He does have the Silver Edge as well as Dragonlance. Now, he had a BKB queued up at one point in time, but it looks like he's going to try and continue to build damage here with a Manta style now in his sticky.
That, and I think he may want to be able to purge off Corrosive Haze. We haven't seen the extent of the power of this armor strat yet, but Lifestealer, like we said, Desolator completed. We have Corrosive Haze on deck, level 2, and we have Weave, which we haven't really seen a full-on Weave fight yet. And so all those things added up, even though Shadow Fiend loves attacking heroes with little armor, he does very poorly if he doesn't have very much armor.
Honestly, yeah, I'm thinking Cloud9 maybe are just gonna miss their timing entirely, because there is this problem with Ace. He's just too underfarmed for a Razor. Like I don't feel like he's impactful enough. In part because of the Boots of Travel pickup. Maybe the next team fight will change my mind about that, but it does seem like they just don't have the overwhelming power like they should right now. They are going to be able to catch the Absol, blink in call, but Forev responds with a good combination on Hesta Joe, missing the Culling Blade, so they're not going to have that extra movement speed. Forev actually gets off a 3-man crush and maybe finish off Hesta Joe. Hesta Joe does get a defensive sleep out there, and Firo teeping away. Invis is good. Noya couldn't get the kick out. Adam, once again, he will be dying here, but the 2 supports go down on the side of Bears. Cloud9, we're hoping to be able to get more, hoping to be able to get core kills off of that smoke rotation.
Yeah, Bears Forev went face first into an Axe Blade Mail. If Timbersaw was able to stick around in that fight for longer, that would have gone much more poorly for Cloud9, but unfortunately, he got half of his HP bursted down just trying to kill the Axe, and it didn't even happen. And Axe did miss the Calling Blade, and so not only was Grave be able to get its full duration off, but like you said, they didn't have the move speed, and that extra move speed may have helped them get one more kill, but they got the Dazzle and they got the Slardar. So C9 are, even though they're not really, I guess, getting their timings. No, what?
The Yapsor TP'd in, and he tried to get the... He knew SF was going to back up, so he immediately tried to run in and get a stun. And if he had been there just a half a second earlier, he hits the stun before the invis, and then he gets Corrosive Haze, and who knows, maybe they chase down Baby Knight. Because Cloud9 were thinking, you know, we picked up 2 kills. Even if they're supports, we still have a numbers advantage. So they tried to spread out. They tried to do farm-efficient things. They tried to push out some of the lanes, get decent map control. But Bears, this could be a huge turnaround. Them attempting to do Roshan boldly in the face of Cloud9 is one of the riskier plays that I do not think they need to attempt at this point. They do back out of the pit before Cloud9 is there, and now maybe they can bait C9 into a 5-man engagement around the Roshan pit rather than getting initiated on, as Firo does have that blink and does have some of the Quas abilities beginning to come into play as well.
Yeah, we haven't really seen Firo join into a team fight quite yet. He's been on the outskirts of them, kind of either discouraging pushes or discouraging further engagement. Now, with the Blink Dagger completed, and looks like he's going to be going for a Boots of Travel of his own, Firo is going to be everywhere during team fights.
Do you agree with my assessment of Razor, by the way? Like, he's sitting neck and neck with the Timbersaw, but I feel like they should have been able to suffocate the farm of at least the Timbersaw and the Lifestealer more, and have more of a net worth advantage over those heroes.
As a Razor, sometimes you need to think, like, is my job to build... Oh, man.
2-man. Oh, stun. Nice.
Nightmare.
Sleep save. That's a beautiful one. They managed to get the Fiend's Grip onto Fada as well. Somebody needs to be able to stop this backline. Fada's already down to half health. Adam gets nuked down. Now Fada may end up going down as well. Hesta Joe, get that Culling Blade. Can't get it, but the damage over time will suffice. Noya, kick out. Barely missing Forev as it trims his ass hairs there. Forev does manage to get back to the tier 2. What an initiation there from Bears, resoundingly defeated by C9. Now another initiation, another 2-man call. This time the combination is on point for Rev. Of all things, gives a right click to Razor to finish him off. Now tries to go for another one, misses the tree there. Looks like he still managed to catch Hesta Joe. They'll be able to get that kill, turn it into Noya as well. Noya going to try and kick away and roll, but they do have the Yule Scepter, which sets up the Sunstrike combination. They'll take 4 down out of Cloud9. They went from initiation, beautiful one, from Bears going immediately wrong to then a second initiation going oh so right.
They went from having Firo, they went from not having Firo to having Firo. Even though the Lifestealer was dead, he was like, whatever, man, we don't need him anymore. I got all the initiation, I got all the damage we need. All I need is you just put out a little crush, and then you just let me handle the rest. What I was saying earlier is that as a Razor, you have to determine whether you want to build damage or you just want to steal damage. And in that first half of that fight, he was stealing damage. He had 224 Static Link from Fada. They won the first half of the fight. Then Static Link ran out. A really nicely positioned crush in a Deafening Blast meant that Razor couldn't do anything. And then after that, Bears just tore apart the remainder of C9.
Fada now has an Aegis. Gets a bit of damage on the tier 2. Cloud9. I need a way to be able to take control back of this game because this Firo Invoker It's getting bigger and bigger. He's level 18 now. He's going to start getting to a point where he has the maxed out quasses, and then he gets to those talents as well. And I'm not sure if a carry SF is going to be good enough to deal with both the Lifestealer and the Invoker. I guess the Razor does have more late game power than he used to, thanks in part to the talents. One surprise for me is there was the change of the Razor level 15 talent, but he didn't go for it. He went for the 150 cast range, which initially I think was the best thing you could go for. But they changed up the talents and now gave the other one a plus 130 unstable current damage. Do you think that might have been a pickup there, or is it just not enough single target to warrant the increase in damage?
I am of the school of thought that unstable current is quite possibly the most boring skill in Dota, and obviously because it's a passive, but like Ice Rug has been systematically removing passives from the game. Unstable current just like hasn't been on his list yet, and I think it's because he himself forgot about it. He's just like, whatever, I'm just gonna like change the talents, give it some more damage whenever single target.
Nice initiation, Bears.
Illusion.
Get an illusion, and oh god, Forever actually completes that TP. They're still gonna fight this one out. Frev's right on top of Baby Knight though. Baby Knight blows him up with a big time ultimate. Now Fada's gonna lose all his damage, and he has nowhere to run to. He has an Aegis, yes, but he's gonna be surrounded on all sides. He has a rage up as he comes back, so maybe, just maybe, he can get an escape out of this one, but there's a call from Master Joe. Fada looks like he's gonna be blown up before he can infest anything, so he's done so. Wow, that was huge. Cloud9 Baby Knight getting one hell of a Requiem of Souls right on top of Forev, who's one of the harder heroes to eat through.
And one of the best heroes to get that amount of magic damage on, especially in the beginning of the fight. Just eliminate. Oh wow, Hesta Joe getting a kill on Yapsor.
Yeah.
If they can remove the Timbersaw, and like it's a combination that Furo needs to be able to be effective in team fights. He needs someone to tank the focus, and Timbersaw is usually that role, but as soon as Timbersaw died and as soon as the Aegis went down, Furo was just like, yeah, I'm not a part of this fight anymore, I'm leaving.
I want to admit something to you, Tsunami. When I was talking about the talent of Razor, I started that whole entire thing. Field? I thought it was Plasma Field. I'm not even going to lie. I thought Unstable Current was a spell too. I was like halfway through, and then I was like, I hovered on the abilities. I was like, oh, Unstable Current isn't the first or second one. I was like, oh shit, it's the passive.
You corrected yourself halfway through, which threw me though. You were like, not enough single target, and I'm like, I mean,
good recovery, right? Good recovery.
Yeah, no, yeah. You threw me though. You juked me. I was gonna be like, what are you talking about? No one. I thought you were gonna be like, not enough distance between him and the heroes. Yeah. I mean, that's why Plasma Field's not the play.
I do love the fact that you talked about how Unstable Current just is. People forget about that because I forgot about that ability. Yeah, that ability is just someone give Razor an active, another one.
Yeah, or just turn it like how Synergy got changed on Lone Druid, or how Witchcraft got changed on Death Prophet. I mean, it's okay. Just give it like something else other than being useless.
Oh man, oh man, I thought I was when I read that at 7.02, I was like, oh, that seems pretty cool. I was like, that's a decent level 15 talent. Never mind.
I read that and I facepalmed immediately.
But it is true, right? There is, besides that change up, the talents do offer Razor more late game power, because I think all the talents synergize really well with the static link, and then you've got that level 25 plus 14 static link damage steal, which I guess is what a 50% increase in damage stolen. That's not bad.
It's not bad, but it depends if C9 gets to high ground at any point, because at some point you may want the attack range to just siege from a distance rather than engaging in these 5v5 fights, which Ace is kind of going for like a middle of the ground build all around. Like his item build is like, okay, so he got the Manta style for move speed, BOTs for move speed, and he has Dragonlance and BKB to be able to like stay in the fight. But then his talent tree is, it's like, okay, I'm going to tank up with the HP, but you know, I also want to be able to stay near the Lifestealer and chase him around. So Ace is kind of like a jack of all trades right now. The question is if not being a master of any of them will be a problem, because right now Shadow Fiend, it's very hit or miss whether Baby Knight has an impact in the fight or not. But now that both cores on C9 have BKBs, it might be a bit easier.
So you think this is the point, Cloud9? Do they push for tier 2s, or do you think they still have a window where they can wait for Roshan and try and take that Aegis?
It's going to be such a small window, though, because there's a Desolator and Corrosive Haze. Roche is going to go down in an instant. So they can waste a lot of time keeping Ward Vision and, keeping one hero around the pit. But I would prefer them to just start dictating the pace and start forcing bears to, I guess, withhold pushes, because it's okay to use these BKBs in these skirmishes at this point.
Yeah, I like that idea. Don't take the risk that bears are able to sneak in a Roshan against you while you're waiting for it. Don't let them try and run you around the map. Go fight ban now. See if you can get an honest team fight. One that neither team has that extra life, and you both are just taking a regular old 5 versus 5. Initiation on a Baby Knight here. Forev's going to bring him down to bat half health. Nice Manta, though. Forev is going to be stunned up. Also with the Silver Edge, he's going to lose a lot of that armor. Looks like Baby Knight with the Yule Scepter is going to get a lot more magic damage to get the Fiend's Grip. Back over here, Firo did manage to pick up one. He got the kill on the Axe. Looks like Fada and Yapzor are going to have to run away. Adam does get caught once again. That team fight was very broken up. Firo managed to get the Ice Wall onto Ace, but it looks like they're just on their way out. Yapzor, couple shots there from Baby Knight, but as a whole, Cloud9 do win it 1 for 2, and I would always trade, I think, the Axe for the Timber Saw, so Cloud9 might just be able to take this tier 2 now.
They wanted, nice Manta
dodge again from Baby Knight. The static link damage stealing everything from Fada, so he has to back up. He actually does no damage right now. Looks like Fear's still feeling comfortable, though. Trying to catch somebody. Tornado misses Baby Knight. I'm a bit surprised that Cloud9 don't take that engagement. I guess because of the Bloodstone on the Timber Saw, though. That timing was rapidly drawing to a close, and if Forev joins the team fight, things could get pretty nasty.
That and the fight, the fact that they won the fight because of BKBs exclusively. It was both teams, I guess, trading initiations and then them saying, like, who's going to be able to withstand more. Baby Knight got initiated by the Slardar, and the Axe and Razor of C9 got initiated on Tornado, top lane. Never mind, just whatever. Yeah, so BKBs were able to win the first half of the fight, and that's why Firo wasn't able to do anything. Once the BKBs run out and the cooldowns are engaged, then Firo's like, well, it's time to party. So I can see why C9 left.
Man, that was... From a camera perspective, I did not know what to do with that team fight. Because, Forev was like, okay, Forev's probably done for, especially once Rise managed to clip him with that Fiend's Grip.
Yeah, it's a damn shame because I wanted to see what Baby Knight was up to, but I saw you were watching it, and I was like, I guess I'll watch this Razor take a bunch of damage and do nothing and be slowed by an Ice Wall, and Baby Knight's just picking up kills on Adam and all over the place, like he might do it again.
He might do it again. Poor Adam, man. Leave Adam alone. As to Joe, he needs to be a little bit closer. They want to try and make sure.
They're baiting. They saw Baby Knight, but for some reason Adam just gets left behind.
Tornado comes out. Shallow Grave early on. Hesta Joe doesn't actually find him. We'll try and find him now. Force Staff, and away he goes. Nice save.
Whose Force Staff was that? Oh, it was Yapzor's Slardar. Well played. Yeah, they had this Sentry Ward near the Radiant Shrine, so they saw a Silver-Edged Baby Knight walk up, but I guess an Invoker by himself can't get initiation, because if you Tornado, then Baby Knight's going to BKB as soon as he hits the ground. If you Cold Snap, that is not going to be enough. So they saw it, they couldn't do anything unless the Slardar shows up.
Roshan has been spotted out by Firo, and I'm sure Cloud9 will be taking a peek into the pit quite soon as well. Because they know Roshan's up, Forev's going to try and push out the side lanes as quick as possible. Cloud9 know about it now. They're going to back up. Looks like they bought a smoke for the Ear Spirit, so maybe going for a smoke play here, trying to wrap around, catch Radiant.
This Dire Shrine is warded up again. I really hope they don't do it at that same spot that's gotten them the first 2 times.
Well, Baby Knight's out of mana, so they're going to go up to that
that's
shrine
what the shrine's
to give him the mana.
No!
And then from there, they're probably going to smoke.
Oh, well, 2 of their heroes are missing, but they really look like they want to smoke.
He's waiting for the smoke to come off cooldown. I mean, they've seen the smoke and everything. Even if they don't pop it right here, they do know about the intention. Now, the TPs are going to come into the shrine. Oh, Forev gets caught by the call. He's going to pull right back in with the Fiend's Grip. Yapzor thinks about trying to initiate to stop that Fiend's Grip, and then thinks better of it, knowing that he can't actually stop Forev from dying there. Firo and Fada are going to try and quickly do Roshan themselves as a 2-man combo, but Noya is here, and this isn't going to work. Firo jumps out, maybe catches Noya. He managed to get off the silence onto Firo. Can Rise and Baby Knight take advantage of that silence and that damage over time? Forev's away. Managed to get off the Ghost Walk. C9 can take the Roshan, though.
Can they? I don't know. They're loading up a
Maybe
Lifestealer
not. Yep,
bomb.
Sword. Nice combination onto Ace, but now here comes the combo. Heads to Joe, manages to call out. Baby Knight activates his ultimate, lets it go. Yapsor gets away with the shallow grave. Nice save from Adam. And now tries to heal up Fada, but get ripped apart. Fada, with all the damage being stolen away from him by Ace, is probably going to go down. That extra armor is keeping him alive, as well as the armlet toggling. Plasma field is not enough, so looks like Adam's sacrificial play does manage to give Fada just the extra bit of space needed for him to get out. Cloud9, they haven't taken Roshan yet, but they do win the initial fight. Frev is now back in town, and Bears are probably going to try again.
They're towing around it. I think Lifestealer's very unhappy with how this game is going, though. So not only was all of his, like, the full duration static link, but he also had a level 3 Enfeeble on him. So both of these things are things that you cannot purge off as a Lifestealer, and he can enter the fight, have like a paw away at Razor for like maybe 3 hits, and then that's it. Like your contribution as a damage dealer to this fight is over. You can maybe put some Desolator hits on people if you want, but no one else is going to be able to deal physical damage.
Yeah, it feels like we haven't felt the impact of Ferev as much in these last couple of engagements. He just keeps on being blown up by Fiend's Grip plus the SF ulti, or in this place, got caught in the Shrine area. And they need that hero because Lifesteal is entirely countered. The late game that we're looking at from Bears, and why I was kind of siding them with the late game, has nothing to do with the Lifestealer, right? That guy's countered out hardcore by Bane, by Razor. That guy's not going to do much. But Timbersaw and Invoker should be able to do a lot more, especially later on in the game as BKBs start wearing out. But C9, they're taking a very dominant mid-game approach. They're still going to try and do Roshan, but they got spotted out by the Sunstrike and don't feel comfortable trying to do it underneath that vision.
I'm actually surprised that Fada went for an AC on this Lifestealer, because it just seems like they're so all in on armor strats, and like it's great if Lifestealer can hit people, but Lifestealer can't hit people, and then like it's up to Ferev, like you said, but Ferev is all pure damage and magic damage. Firo, mostly pure damage, magic damage. It's just the Lifestealer right-clicking people, and all of Bears has itemized towards making sure that this Lifestealer can right-click people. Maybe they can right-click the Roche down fast enough, but
would you rather have him like go straight for Abyssa Blade or something? Is that what you have in mind?
Either that, like some sort of crowd control item, I think would have gone further on Fada, because he has no problems killing people. It's just like if he gets the initiation and the people who he's killing aren't able to, I guess, counter-initiate, but as soon as Slardar crushes, Fada emerges, and then that's it. You're going to get Enfeebled, you're going to get Fiend's Grip, you're going to get Static Linked, and then you have to leave.
Counter-called by the Axe as well. There's
Exactly.
a lot of issues, yeah. Speaking of that counter-call, Hestejo is trying to improve his survivability by going for a BKB. Cloud9 did have to give up on that Aegis. It's now on Fada. I'm not convinced Fada is the best hero for it, because I feel like he's just going to die most of the time. Because he's, as you said, like we jump in, we do this combination, he immediately gets countered. I'm not sure if his second life is going to do too much for him, but...
Oh, but he does have a Lincoln's now,
Yeah,
and I do like that quite a bit. Granted, it only stops one of the many single target spells that well, I guess, so they'll be able to block either Enfeeble or Static Link, but one of them is going to go on the Lifestealer, and both of them are issues, so it'll help a little bit, but, I mean, hopefully they can get initiation quick enough that the other spell won't even come out.
We are going to have a Scotty being built by Ace, not too surprising. This is going to be nice tanky item for the Razor. He's rapidly closing in on that 25. There's another upgrade that I wanted to talk about that was a change in 7.02. They had the workaround there with the talents for Bane on the later ones. And while we don't talk about it in the early game, we are approaching that area. The plus 75 Enfeeble reduction, because he's been using it so much. That's almost that's 195 damage reduction. That's pretty much all of Lifestealer as he is. So
Yep.
That's going to be a ton. So that's going to be a big upgrade. And then he also has a movement speed talent at 25, which may be worth it. I don't know. Against a Slardar and Lifestealer, I'm not sure how much value that plus 75 movement speed is. Jesus Christ, that's a lot.
Yeah, I think the prevailing joke of 7.02 is that a whole bunch of move speed buffs or talents got buffed, and everyone was just like, why? You know?
Not again.
Like, what are you trying to do here?
Frev, silver edged. Baby Knight wasn't right on top of him for the ultimate, so he didn't feel good about the Requiem of Souls. He basically has to execute Frev in about 3 shots. The Requiem, the silver edge hit, and then maybe one or 2 hits after that. Baby Knight's going to be forced to use his BKB
Blink is down.
here. They do have the call out, but nice initiation from Yapster. Actually spots Hestejo in the backlines and goes for him first. Now, it does allow Baby Knight to get out, but at least they stopped that counterplay. If they'd gone on the SF, they would have been countercalled by the Axe, and that could have turned bad with TPs in from Cloud9. But they do manage to get on top of the Axe, and that allowed them to push into high ground here with this Aegis.
Lincoln's popped by Enfeeble number 1, but oh, Furo coming in with tornadoes.
That tornado seems to last forever. Speaking of Furo, he's closing on 25 as well. Do you think anybody starts getting that tornado talent, or is it still all AoE deafening blast all the way?
I've seen Tornado a few times, especially since it got buffed. Like, he doesn't have an... Oh, he does have an Octarine, so it's a really short cooldown. He may use it now.
The stun goes out, Baby Knight, with the Corrosive Haze. Manta's off that one. Fada, another Lincoln save away from the static link. The ultimate does go down. Frev going to be caught by the Fiend's Grip here. They try and save him. The Axe is not there to be able to stop that Shallow Grave, so it will actually keep Frev alive. Now, Ace comes forward, tries to finish him off, but a blink away just ahead of the Plasma Field saves his life. That Corrosive Haze combined with the Desolator just tears Ace apart. The Meteor's going to slightly miss, but it's still good enough to be able to get the kill onto Rise. The Bane is down, but Hestejo is back up. So Cloud9 still have an opportunity to defend here, but their tier 3 is down, and that does open up shrines now. Miss call out from Hestejo. Wanted to be able to eliminate. Miss kick as well from Noya. Does not manage to land on Firo. He does manage to get the silence out on him at the very least. Fada has to back himself away, but they're playing this in and out game very nicely. Cloud9 missing a couple of spells there. Is the push going to come in from Bears while they still have that numbers advantage? Doesn't look like it. They think they've done enough damage, and honestly, with the tier 3s opening up shrines, I think that's a good call.
Yeah, how foolish of me for thinking that Fada was actually itemizing to kill heroes. No. He was itemizing to put C9 under the gun whenever Bears actually starts approaching high ground. C9 would not want to have to fight without their Axe, and you saw how messy the initiation is whenever they don't have a blink call to set up like the stun on Earth Spirit, the silence, or Bane can get a nice safe Fiend's Grip. Fada was just chewing through the tower, and C9 was like, well, we don't have a choice, we have to take this fight. Thankfully, they don't get very many casualties on either side, but Bears, like you said, they take the tier 3, and now top lane going in. Firo.
He needs to hit this kick. Oh, it does land on Firo, and they manage to get the dust out. Firo has been caught inside the trees. What an excellent play. Firo, you know he's going to do these sort of things. His Invoker, especially in the early game, if you've ever seen his Quaswex Invoker, super aggressive, super in the face of the enemy, bouncing back and forth all around the map, and he's going to take that same style of play into the late game as well, and try and pick off these heroes when they try and go for the split pushing. And Firo does get resoundingly denied there, that attempt on SF's life. Now, with him down for another 60 seconds, Cloud9 have an opportunity for a push of their own.
And Razor does end up going for the plus 14 static link at 25, so it looks like C9 are confident that they're going to win fights. They don't need to just chip away at towers. They'll get a pick on someone like Firo, and then they'll try to force out a buyback.
Tier 3, are they going to buyback here? They are going to try and get some damage onto Baby Knight, but again, Manta Style comes out, and this could be a lane of racks. Maybe Bears feel more comfortable keeping the buyback on Firo and losing this lane of racks. Call comes out. Fada caught without his rage. Does have it coming up in a second here, but he's already the static link onto him. Ace is beginning to chase him down, getting all that extra damage, but they're going to try and pop him with magic. He does manage to get off the BKB, starts running himself away. He has the gem, so his escape is crucial for Cloud9 to keep this map control. Firo trying to slow down some of these heroes, does jump onto Rise, looks like missed initiation on a Baby Knight, fails to claim that kill. Yapster 4 snaps forward, can't get him. And that is not good enough, I would say, for Bears, considering the fact they used the buyback of Firo and only got a Bane for it and still lost tier 3 and melee ranks. Bears are now significantly behind Cloud9.
That's such an expensive defense. I can't believe that they weren't able to. I don't really know where Firo TP'd to, but I would have thought that with Blink BOTs, you pretty much had your pick of the litter about where behind the tier 3 you wanted to go. And, I mean, maybe they did manage to get... I didn't even really see any tornadoes on anyone important, so I don't know. Firo was not able to get what he wanted out of this buyback.
Bears, they've taken some map control, they push out, and then they just don't find anything. So they're going to turn the only objective they feel comfortable taking with the double damage on Fana. They're going to grab this shrine. But after this, once Cloud9 are all what? Ooh, this TP from Rise. This is a dangerous one. They do manage to get the call out, though. The Absol caught. Not going to be able to counter-initiate whatsoever. BKB activated by Hestejo. Now Fada tries to get himself away from the static link that did get bounced back to Ace, but he pops a BKB. Fiend's Grip on the side. Looks like it did manage to catch one, but Forev does manage to get out. Fada keeps on moving forward, but Ace is just hitting like a truck at this point. Nice AoE deafening blast there. Managed to catch both Ace and Hestejo. Stopped their pursuit of the Lifestealer. So in the end, all they lost was Adam. So that was actually decent for Bears. They still got that shrine. They've got the side lanes pushing in. They do have room to work with against Cloud9, even with the loss of their melee racks.
Bears are getting some extremely important item pickups. This Lotus Orb has proven to be so important. Oh, Crush
BKB not activated fast enough. Baby Knight gonna get blown up. Manta dodge. Maybe he's not. BKB activated, and he managed to get the Silver Edge Invis away. That was a very close call.
Nailbiter. Yeah, so these item pickups of Bears are making a massive difference. This Lotus Orb pickup, it's not really reflecting the static link, but it's making this Razor just be like, I don't want to have to touch you. I don't want to have to start this fight until your Lotus Orb goes down. And now Timbersaw has picked up a Sheepstick, Invoker has picked up a Sheepstick, and the two BKBs of C9 have been at 5 seconds for a long, long time.
Yeah, this is the dangerous point that we alluded to during the mid game, is when these BKBs start going down and when these hard disables start coming in from Bears, their magic and pure damage, which was before a little bit lackluster against these 10-second BKBs, become all the more potent.
Thankfully, Baby Knight has completed a Satanic, but I mean that's a great item, assuming that you're not crowd controlled the entire time. If you're sheeped, if you're getting stunned, then, I mean, I don't really know if he's going to have the luxury of activating it whenever he does get low. He might just need to activate it as soon as he jumps into a fight if he thinks he's going to be taking a lot of damage.
Yeah, Lifestealer's about to pick up some control as well. He's trying to work towards that Abyssal Blade, which is always one of the finishing items for the Lifestealer. This 15% evasion has been super valued, by the way, for the Lifestealer, because there's not any MKBs.
Yeah, that's why I do like Midas Lifestealer quite a bit. Oh, BKB activated just to dodge the tornado. Okay.
Want to make sure they get this Aegis and they don't get initiated on. Yapsor gets caught by Hestejo. Nice pick. So with the extra life and now a numbers advantage, Bears may be caught with their pants down. They do have the Lifestealer. Fada's going to go for a quick split push at bottom lane. The range racks and melee racks could be gone, but Cloud9 endgame scenario, no. They're actually going to back up. Ace won't be here in time to save the range racks, but he will keep the melee live. Baby Knight also bounced back, so it looks like they gave up on the push, at least for now, and Bears can actually push forward through to mid lane. Perez trying to catch somebody right now. He does get the Sight Device onto Noya with the Shivas. They manage to get another Shivas out from Firo with the control coming in. Noya actually dodges the Meteor Blast. Nice turnaround with a silence and stun. Ace is rapidly approaching this team fight, and Bears have to retreat here. A little bit of a cold snap stun. Firo's going to be the one caught by the static link here. Hestejo jumps forward, misses out on a call, it looks like, but the Suns still come in. That Deafening Blast is huge, though. Firo bounces away, and it looks like he will manage to get out, but a Fiend's Grip onto Fada might have just spelled the end of Fada's life here. A Bloodthorn ensures it. 80 seconds down, Cloud9. They're on the cusp of being able to win this game now. If they can force these buybacks and execute another great team fight, the game could just be over.
Noya being able to get that silence and what should have been a definite death scenario for him. He got sheepsticked, he dodged, he moved just a little bit north to make sure he didn't die to the Chakram. Now the push continues.
EMP burns out all of Ace's mana, something he doesn't have much recovery for. Deafening Blast, pushing these heroes back. They're just trying to buy time, I think, until the Dazzle's up, and then they'll probably have to buy back on the Lifestealer. Unless somehow they can actually get a quick kill. Ace, he may lose his life here. Gets a Force Staff. He's good. Another tornado out. I don't know. They are defending pretty well. 3 versus 5. Now they've got Adam as well here to throw out the weave. Maybe they can keep this Lifestealer's buyback in the bank here. It's still 30 seconds left, but it's tough to push into this Invoker. He lays out constant ice walls and tornadoes. There's the weave.
Ace 8 cheese, so he's up to full HP. Baby Knight still has his Aegis. They're taking the tower down to half HP, but yeah, it looks like it was a successful defense. As now Lifestealer's up in 10 seconds.
Wow. That was... I think other teams, maybe less experienced teams, less experienced players might have jumped the gun, throwing that buyback down from the Lifestealer, but Zero, mostly his Invoker, but also that initiation in mid with the Slardar, does manage to hold off Cloud9 for now. They've taken 1 shrine, and the natural rotation is going to be heading towards that other shrine. Bears are there to try and counter that movement. They see Racer up at the top lane, and they realize Cloud9 not going to go for that play anymore.
There's a lot of patience coming out from both teams. Earlier, whenever they had seen the Timbersaw in the gank that Noya was able to get the silence off on the Timbersaw and Invoker, Bane could have used the Fiend's Grip to put the Timbersaw under, but he's pretty much just exclusively using it on Lifestealer, and that's working out so well every single time. And that, like, even if Lifestealer did buy back, I'm pretty sure Fiend's Grip was up again. And I mean, we mentioned all the problems that Lifestealer has. They're problems no matter what. Unlike Invoker, who is like, okay, if your BKB timings are down, now I can start playing. Lifestealer just is not getting a chance no matter what happens.
This is not your normal Infest gank. Firo pushed out the lane just well enough to be able to get the backdoor protection down, and they tried to use Yapstor and Fada to be able to hit that melee racks, but they'd be caught in the process. C9 TP'd all their heroes back. Couldn't actually catch Fada, though. Covered up by Firo. And that tier 2 tower looks like it might get denied here or not. So Cloud9 responding pretty well to it. They seem to have an idea of what was about to happen. They TP'd a little bit preemptively. Still get that tier 2, still keep their melee racks alive.
It's forcing them to move around in places they don't want to, though. This Aegis only has like another 50 seconds on it, and Baby Knight really wants to make use out of it because, I mean, without that Aegis, it's very risky pushing high ground against his team. Now, initiated on briefly.
Maybe Yapsor just trying to force out a BKB usage or something like that. If
It
use
is
the
backpack
BKB,
for him.
right? Yeah.
This is such a risky backpack. I'm very surprised that he's putting... I would put, like, the AC in the backpack, because if he does get jumped on, and he does get crushed, I mean, like, there aren't that many... Well, actually, maybe he is that concerned about Sheepstick, so he's like, whatever. If they initiate on me, I'm probably dead anyway.
55 minutes in, the score is 18-28, but in reality, it is pretty dead even. Cloud9 are up by 10,000 gold, Bears are up by 5,000 experience, the Aegis is worn out. Cloud9 currently holding a slight advantage. They do have the melee and range racks in mid lane, whereas Bears have only taken the range racks at bottom. Bears do have a bit better control, I think, but Cloud9, they have the power to just barrel down a lane at any point in time and force a defensive fight from Bears. I don't think there's the same kind of luxury on the Bears side. They have to be a little bit more hit and run style, I think, from them.
I don't know how effective their hits and runs will be, though. Noya has completed an Aghanim Scepter now on this Earth Spirit, so these pushes, these sieges are a lot easier now, a lot lower risk as they take another tier 3. Nice crush.
Bloodthorn onto Forev. That one used up. It is going to be back up in 5 seconds. They do manage to get that melee racks. SF just goes ahead, lets loose the ultimate, knowing that Bears are going to have to back away from it, and it does allow a pretty easy retreat from Cloud9. So they go ahead and do that. They barrel down a lane, they take a tier 3 and a melee. Mission accomplished. Not much that Firo was able to get done.
Nerves of steel by Firo. He TP'd, and then either he canceled it, or he was just like, whatever, we can't defend this, I'm just going to keep pushing top. But he didn't show up bot at all. And I don't know if he could have helped the melee racks survive or not, but it seems like Firo is changing up his game plan now. And man, if he can get a... No, there's no way he goes for this.
He's been hiding in the top lane for quite some time. The Slardar is coming over without the Lifestealer inside. I don't think they have enough combination of stuns, especially with Noya here with a pullback. That Aghanim's upgrade, that's going to be real detrimental to Bears' attempts. Ghost Walk does come out. Noya unable to get out that Enchant Remnant. Firo still stuck in the trees there. That was awkward, but he's good.
I remember when oh man.
No. Bots too. I like this. They're covering each other really well.
Well, this is the benefit of basically everyone being 6-slotted, I suppose. Maybe not doesn't have his Aegis anymore, so he puts the BKB back, and he's eaten a Moon Shard. He has BOT2s. This Shadow Fiend is about as capped out as you can get. I guess you can drop the Silver Edge, but the break itself is pretty useful just for the damage reduction still.
Yeah, and cutting down the reactive armor on Timbersaw.
True.
Quite nice as well. Cloud9 stand pretty well grouped up. 3 heroes behind Baby Knight, and they have Ace with the bots too. In case the initiation does come out. YapzOr baits the end initiation. Might still be caught though. Does have a tornado covering his tracks. Noya and Ace are going to be on top of him, manage to hit the stun, and YapzOr is going to die. He gets off a last man crush, but...
Ooh, it drops a gem also. That's a bit expensive. Man, YapzOr was just like, what the hell just happened? I just wanted to blink crush someone. Instantly, an axe blinks in, Earth Spirit rolls in, someone's BOTing on the rolling Earth Spirit. He's just like, okay, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to startle you. Now the rest of his team is trying to push mid lane, Bloodthorn Timbersaw, but there's no stun.
Ace and Hester Joe back up to defend. This does mean the SF is now exposed in top lane. He starts backing away right as Bears think to get aggressive on him. Fira may still try and dive out because they know they have such a big numbers advantage in this top lane if they can just get the catch. Unfortunately, the Ghost Walk and Blink Dagger doesn't seem to be enough to get a fast kill. And if they pursue this Teep, then they may still end up running into a full 5-man Rise. Now, Rise is going to get blown up by that combination. Baby Knight, he Silver Edges on through, gets caught by the Tornado. Ice Wall laid out as well, so he's going to have to head around. Stun kick out from Noya, but here comes that Scythe of Ice from earlier, from Forev. The Sunstrike over the top. Finish him off with a Timber Chain, a little bit more. They've got him. So, Bears do manage to find 2 picks. They are the supporting crew of Cloud9. That isn't a game changer by any means. Maybe if Roshan was up, but Bears won't be that fortunate in timing.
Even once one of these cores die, it's still not going to be like life or death because like everyone has buyback. Everyone important has buyback, so everyone needs to strap in because this game is still going to go on for a while. Roche is up now, so this is going to be an important objective if either team figures it out.
Bots too. They're going to catch Hester Joe. This is excellent. They take out the big initiator of Cloud9 while the 2 supports are still down. Maybe, just maybe, Bears can actually force some buybacks here. They have the bots up on Invoker, so we can join his team on a mid lane push if he wants, but it looks like he's just going to Wex on over. Fada gets some damage onto the tier 3, but I think once the Earth Spirit is up, this push gets a whole lot more dangerous for Bears. They get Enchant Remnanted and toss back to the tier 4s. I don't think there's anything Bears could do to save that hero.
It depends on how eager Earth Spirit wants to be with these blinks. Another blink in. Hex.
Crush on Ace, but a little bit of lack of synergy there. Tornado right as Fada tried to get some damage onto him. Either way. Another 35 seconds till Hester Joe is back up, and he does have buyback. If Bears overextend themselves, he may buy back, damning the death timer and how low it is just to be able to get a better initiation. But Bears do retreat. Not too surprising there. They get another tier 3 tower, another small progression in objectives, but ultimately nothing too big. Cloud9 keep their buybacks in hold, and they will wait until their 5-man is up.
No new 25s on deck yet. Lifestealer, I think, was the last person. Either that or the Timbersaw. Timbersaw went for the 20 strength, so he's very, very tanky, and Lifestealer actually did not go for the 1 second rage duration, but went for more armor, which I'm a little bit surprised about, seeing as how there isn't that much minus armor on Cloud9, and I would have felt that 1 more second of magic immunity would be more valuable, but we'll see. They're going to get this Roche basically for free, and it's a cheesy Roche.
He is now up to 74% physical resistance on the Lifestealer.
True.
All that armor. And they will have the extra life, but I don't think it goes to Fada, and sure enough, it goes to YapzOr instead. The big initiator, who most of the time has just been poking at the enemy team and not actually been committing. The cheese, what was that, over on Adam in his
Firo
backpack.
needs to be
Firo
very careful.
throws the meteor down, starts wexing himself backwards here, but Noya may still manage to catch him. He doesn't have a blink up. 8 more seconds still, but he does have the gem. No, he's still out of range. Another 4-step, but he's still out of range. Another roll forward, but Firo just remains 1 step ahead of Noya at all times. Turn around, Ice Wall. Maybe he's got him, but the Scythe of Ice bots too. Firo's got to get up, blink up in a second, Deafening Blast back, and he is away. His team has time to be able to take the melee ranks at bottom lane. Firo got chased so far out. They knew how important that kill could have been.
Oh god, and Ace used his BOT2s onto that Earth Spirit, so he can't get back to defend this quickly. Hestejo gets his TP canceled by Firo with a cold snap as well.
Hestejo's probably going to die to Firo now, but Fared may have been caught around those melee racks. A stun comes out from Yabsor. Fada comes forward, but thinks better of it. Even with the Crows of Haze, he doesn't want to fight into that one. His Adam's already dead. They don't have that Shallow Grave. He throws out the Abyssal Blade while he's still raged up, so he doesn't take that Unstable Current slow, but he looks like he's still going to go down. Silence up by Noya. May just catch Yabsor as well. They finally bring Hestejo down so Firo can join this fight and get out a Tornado, maybe to save Slardar's life. A long-range sleep. Yabsor trying to sprint himself away, but Ace, he's actually faster than Slardar. He's going to be able to catch him out with the Plasma Field. That will be the Aegis. And now Forev and Firo have to try and strike back, get the right kind of initiation. Good Shivas. Initiation on Ace as well from Firo, but Yabsor dies the second time, and now Forev very rapidly running out of mana, heads towards the trees, but they've got him with a Static Link. A Deafening Blast trying to bribe Forev space, enough for him to be able to get the Blink Dagger out. Looks like he's away. Firo catches Baby Knight on the pursuit again. So Cloud9 won't be able to get extra there. They lost their melee racks. They did get a lot of kills, especially that big one on Fada.
Kills don't matter anymore. It's all about objectives. That's why Firo immediately BOT'd to the bot lane, not back to the fountain, not to play it safe. No, he wants to keep this pressure, relentless pressure onto C9. That was such a rabid fight. Everyone was just like clawing at each other, trying to get whatever they could. Bane got his Fiend's Grip canceled by a Lincoln's, and like this Slardar was just on the run constantly, just hoping to get whatever space gap creation he can. Firo was just basically tossing out every single spell as soon as it came off cooldown. I don't really think that this game is that much closer to ending though, just because the Rax goes down.
You see this cast range on Rise? Good lord. He didn't take the enfeeble damage. He took the 175. That's how he got that really long-range Nightmare onto Yabsor. But between that and the Ether Lens, his range is huge.
Yeah, so hopefully he won't pop Lincoln's with Fiend's Grip next time, because that was a bit of a misplay. But yeah, with all this range, the siege is strong from C9, but that's assuming that they can ever get to a tower.
Timber's got 10k in the bank.
Where does Bloodstone go? How could you just leave your Bloodstone like that?
It looks like the charges were a little bit too low. He's going to go for Bloodthorn up next.
He just hides his shame, so I can't make fun of him for how low his Bloodstone charges were. I see this.
Yeah, he's in this very close, game one in the lower bracket finals. Forev is sitting there thinking, what is Tsunami going to say about me?
Thank you. It's about time I get some respect around here.
He's like, I better hide this from him.
For what it's worth, I do think that cooldown reduction on death would be pretty important, but I mean, I guess, like I had said earlier, everyone important has buyback, and that has not changed in the 10 minutes that I said that the first time. We'll see if it changes whenever C9 feels like pushing down this top lane.
Ace has got a Scotty in his backpack. That's how you know everyone's farmed. Ace, I'm not sure what he does. He used BKB, and then after the BKB is used, he swaps it.
I think he uses Pike to get the Lincolns off, and then he swaps it.
Okay. Forev, Chakram's out. Managed to hit Hestejo there. Hestejo was planning on actually calling there. Does manage to jump Firo now. Firo's in serious trouble. Had a Meteor Blast going down, but just gets executed. He's going to have to buy back, and this is beginning. Oh, they managed to get a bash on a Baby Knight as he was throwing out the Wrecking of Souls. There is a buyback apiece now. Hestejo turns around, managed to get 2 in the call. Forev still being comboed up by the Fiend's Grip. Rise stays alive because Hestejo's initiation. He managed to complete that Fiend's Grip. Another buyback out for the Timbersaw. The Refresher is used by Firo. Tries to get max Deafening Blast charges onto C9 to bounce them back, but they can't actually get the kill. Hestejo sacrificing his life to make sure Bears can't pursue. Cloud9 running their way out. Looks like Rise may be caught, but the cores get away, and that is what's most important here. Bloodthorn onto Rise will ensure there is no counterplay from him, but Hestejo,
managing to get the call to keep the Fiend's grip onto Forev, forces another buyback out from Bears, and they may just keep the rest of their buybacks in case. We'll have to see.
These are very, very important buybacks. It was a Timbersaw, a Shadow Fiend, and an Invoker buyback, and all of those are critical. And it turns out what Ace did is he activated BKB, and then he immediately shoved it into his backpack for the Scotty. And so it's pretty slick. But, I mean, it's a 5-second BKB, so how important is it really? He was able to survive that fight, but these Refresher Deafening Blasts basically shoved him out, and even if he did like purge off the disarm, like it's so much mitigation on both teams that it's a race between whose crowd control runs out first, because that's when the real fight begins.
With the Refresher down, and I know Bears want to be able to force the buybacks on the two remaining heroes, but honestly, those are not super important buybacks. And if they do buyback and catch you, that could be the end of the game, right? You don't have the Refresher to be able to get that big team fight, nor do you have the buyback on this hero either. So Ace, chased away, does have the static link on Fada. Both kind of trading damage around.
I've never seen a game where Lotus Orb is so important for pretty much everything other than reflecting. They're purging off hexes, they're purging off all these random-ass spells, and they're discouraging usage of items, but really, it's just counter initiation. Man, Baby Knight is 8 slotted right now.
Yeah, Jesus. Baby Knight's ready to go, man. He's ready to swap in that Refresher after he uses BKB Requiem. Go for another one.
This is the real micro. Don't let anyone tell you that it's about controlling units. No. It's about controlling items.
That's 7.0 for you. He's ready to go with the Silver Edge when it's time to back up. Swap in that Silver Edge, ready to go invis and leave. Meanwhile, Hestejo's living the simple life, you know? Hestejo's just like, I just blink in and pop blade mail and call people. That's
man of the people. I can relate to that.
Yeah. Good for you, Hestejo. I'd vote for a politician called Hestejo Rotten.
Absolutely.
He's got to be a stand-up guy, right?
Hestejo 2020. Believe in the blade mail, the ultimate 6-slot item.
25 to 34, 70 minutes in. You know, these net worth and experience grants, no one really cares about these at this point in time. It's about items. It's about buybacks. That is what the late game is about in Dota.
It's about this smoke. Let's see where C9 wants to go.
YapzOr pops it. Blind call from Hestejo, but YapzOr runs right into all these heroes. Managed to get the crush. Dodges the stun out from Noya, as well as the roll. This bots 2 is actually coming in, but he's enchant revenanted. You don't want to be near YapzOr anymore. YapzOr is donezo. He does have a cheese, but he gets called up by Hestejo, and I don't think he would have popped it anyway. He just would have been beaten down again.
Ooh, this timing, though. Roche is up in 10 seconds. No team knows about it yet. Invoker may send a Forge Spirit in, but, like, even Roche, like, who's going to pick it up? All the cores are 6-slotted, 8-slotted, 9-slotted. They can give it to the supports, but, I mean, honestly, like, I think C9, they don't care about Roche. They're just going to go for the push.
If you force the buyback from the Slardar, you probably just back away. I'm not sure if Cloud9 feel that good about the buybacks missing of Timbersaw and Invoker. Honestly, it's just so dangerous to push into a Refresher Invoker. We'll see, though. Jump outside the Vice onto Baby Knight. Now here comes the buyback. Hestejo counters with a call, but Ace is actually being torn about by Fada right now. He managed to get Abyssal Blade, another bash, but now he's actually been Fiend's Grifted up by Rise, sitting on the side. Fada is going to end up going down. He does have buyback, so that is still okay. Managed to get the Infest off into Firo. Well-timed Deafening Blast entrance, and he managed to get his hero out, but Baby Knight gets stunned up again. Fada pops out, tries to eliminate him, but still ends up going down. Now the buyback for Rev at half HP. Firo sitting on the left-hand side, but if he gets initiated on once, he could just die. BKB Baby Knight uses the Requiem as well. Again, trying to ensure the retreat, and it looks like they may have just done it. Cloud9 get Baby Knight out. The rest of the heroes are so far away that I don't think Bears are going to be able to catch anybody. Cloud9 may have just made another big move.
Oh, he still gets out. Okay. They get the Fada buyback, but it's basically traded for saying that Lifestealer now has 2 lives. He's going to drop the Desolator for the Aegis. I think... Okay, YapzOr has 2 cheeses, so this is a connoisseur. You know, he's building a fridge in his inventory, and they will not push with it.
I mean, they don't have buyback for Timbersaw or an Invoker, but it is coming up in a minute and a half. You have that Aegis timing to be able to work with. I think they just kind of sit back and try and control the map, but don't be too aggressive until you have those buybacks up.
C9's expecting aggression. They're having a team huddle in their tier 4s right now. They're like putting their arms around everyone. It's like, all right, why can we never end games as a team?
Someone's got to figure this out for C9. How do, like, it's funny because part of it is not this game, but part of it is like that 5-man push all these towers and then you take towers but you can't go high ground. That seemed to be the problem before for Cloud9, but a game like this evidences that it's not just that, right? It's not just the fact that you 5-man for all the outer
issue.
So it's something seriously wrong or right for C9 in that they can always push the late game. And they have these, and it's perfect, right? You're getting the experience under your belt. Cloud9 is well aware of having 70-minute games. They're experienced.
You bring
with
these people into your strengths. These are the Bears. How many games have they played, right? How many minutes of Dota do they really have? C9 has a library of minutes of Dota that they can look upon. They'll be like, all right, 73 minutes. I can remember the other 20 games that I've been in this situation before.
They're like, welcome to my world, Bears.
That's right.
The late game where everyone's on the edge of their seat, where one death could cost you the whole entire game. One pickoff could mean everything to you in this game one. Yapster's trying to build the Lincolns. Have there been any fresh items? They're trying to keep up to date. Forev does have the Dagons being built out. That's Dagon 3.
Oh, what? Backpack isn't shown in this items thing? That's a damn shame.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I mean, that's the real important thing, because freaking Razor is stashing a Scotty and a Satanic. Shadow Fiend is stashing a Refresher Orb, and what is he working on now?
He's
a Scotty of his own? Okay, well. What about 25s? Any new 25s? I guess Slardar hit his. What is that? 10% bass chance. Okay.
Nice. I'm down with that. He's having a
right.
problem hitting people in the first place, though, because of the butterfly on Ace.
Yes, but that's what 2 cheeses are for. You're bound to hit someone at some point.
Doesn't he have... There's not a cooldown on cheese, right? Oh, no, there is.
Oh, no, there's 40 seconds.
Oh,
wow.
Jesus. I mean, there's no way. Like,
There's no way.
he dies in, like, 3 seconds flat. So he's going to have to pop that cheese, and he's just going to die in 3 seconds later. He won't have that second cheese to use.
True, true. He'll cross that bridge when he reaches it.
Yeah, I guess so. All right, well, the buybacks are up on the Invoker and the... who's the other one? The Timbersaw, who didn't have buyback. Actually missing gold on
And
Firo.
the Shadow Fiend, who had also bought back.
It seems like they feel like having buybacks is more important than Aegis, so maybe they're just going to wait out this Aegis timing entirely, in which case Lifestither should have his buyback if Cloud9 get aggressive as the Aegis fails.
This Aegis is a disadvantage. Fada would rather have his Lincolns. He's just keeping the Aegis as a formality. They're like, all right, I guess I killed Roche. I got Yapsori's second cheese, and I guess I'll carry this Aegis around.
Oh, the smoke up. Maybe all this theorizing about what Bears are planning is all wrong. Maybe they've just been buying their time until C9 push out like this. They're feeling okay with themselves. They managed to get a Radiant scan onto Rise.
They're reading
Boots
the direction.
2 onto Firo, trying to jump in. Fred's going to be the first one forward. Doesn't manage to get a quick sight device onto anybody. Bots onto a creep as well. The Razor's going to be in this fight. Here comes the entrance. As to Joe, gets pushed back by a Deafening Blast. BKB activated, so he managed to dodge all that Meteor Blast damage. Fada's got the static link on him. He's being torn apart by BB Knight and Ace. He does get the Shallow Grave. He's good for now. Hester Joe's on the right-hand side. Refresher activated by Firo. Turns around sight device. Hester Joe does end up going down. Fada will lose his Aegis now, but Baby Knight's down to half health. Pops the Satanic. Starts beating on Firo. Firo nudged to get away, Ghost Walk, and he's out. Noya tries to catch up to him, does manage to land that roll, has the gem on Firo as well. He activated that BKB, does manage to get out back over to Fada, who's being kited around by these constant Scotties, but they do manage to get the Dagon onto Rise. Fada pops his Rage and TP's out. Yapsor sprints away, and it looks like, despite it looking like a post-apocalyptic engagement, the final clash between these two teams, we're going to have one more. Most of the teams get out. Most of the buybacks are still saved. It's just Hester Joe's is the recent buyout.
Now we watch the fallout. Invoker debuted both his 10-second and his 9-second BKB in that fight, and that's what allowed Firo to live. He used it, refreshed it, used it again, managed to get out, and that's why he still has buyback right now. And if he didn't have buyback, or rather if he did die, then he would have bought back, and we would basically roughly be in the same position we are now. But the important thing is that, you know, C9 are... They're really sticking it to Bears. They're saying, like, you can smoke into us, but we'll still take the fight with a smile on our face.
Obviously, the initiation is paramount here. Bears, I think that was one of the things they failed there, is that they were trying to come in with this Ghost Walk on Firo, the smoke up and everything, and Forev was the one who jumped in. He bots onto Firo, blinked forward, but right as he did, Hester Joe managed to get into the trees, and they didn't get a quick, like, Scythe of Ice blow-up kill.
Yeah, see, that's the problem, is that all this initiation... Oh, never mind. On
Quick blow-up kill. That is a quick blow-up kill. Holy crap. 2 minutes. Hester Joe, he doesn't have buyback. He's already made his initiation. They're going to try and bots 2 in with the SF, but now they're at a numbers disadvantage. It's a 4 versus 5 for Cloud9. They're going to try and chase down Forev on the right-hand side here. They might be able to finish him up if Heat Script goes down, but he's going to immediately buy back and TP into this engagement. Baby Knight with a BKB. Turns around, faces up against Fada, who managed to infest inside of Yapzor. Yapzor turns around with the Lotus Orb, thinks about going for Rise, thinks better of it, though. They're waiting for Forev. Forev did not have the boots of travel to be able to get into this one. He had to bots 2 earlier. Or maybe he just canceled it or something, but he does finally make it back into this engagement, walk in the long route here.
Okay, so Axe is down, and that's very important, because that is the only AoE initiation that Cloud9 has.
All right, smoke initiation immediately gets popped out there. Good Lotus Orb on the side of Ice on Ace. Turns around, starts getting the static link onto Fada, but bumped back by a deafening blast. Ace is down to half health, is going to need this shrine. Forev tries to come forward and finish him up, but now he's been bloodthorned up. He gets slipped up for a moment. They're going to be able to execute him. No, the Shallow Grave comes in. Forev has to get out. The last shots are not there to time with the Shallow Grave failing out. So Axe not being there, you said it's very important, not just for the initiation or counter initiation, but also the Shallow Grave becomes ultimately effective in the late game scenarios now.
To be fair, I have not seen very many Calling Blades through Shellgrave, but you only need one.
Oh, they jump onto an illusion. Good bait out from Baby Knight, but Fada still fully in committed. Tries to go for Ace, but a Manta and a Lotus Orb dodge. He's good. He turns around on low HP. Might just be executed by the Sunstrike. Oh, that would have finished him off. He had only 400 HP, and that Sunstrike does around 500. Dagon onto Rise with the extra Bloodthorn damage. If he had pulled it back, he would have finished off Rise, but Forev leaves it out there. Looks like he was orchided up, so he couldn't. He doesn't get the pullback damage that would have finished off Rise. They're going to try and execute Ace while Hester Joe is still down for another 10 seconds. Hester Joe, he's not here, and Ace dies. He's going to be forced into a buyback. A range Rax goes down. Fada going to be slowed down by the Scotty. Ace keeps on coming forward. He has the static link ready to go, but he gets bumped back. Deafening Blast and a Bloodthorn usage. Ace, Fiend's Grip, Rise in the background. There's nothing to be able to stop him. A Sight Device comes out, but it's on to Ace. Now the follow-up. Fada goes down. Firo, he ends up getting dropped as well. Buybacks are going to be forced to use by Bears if they can't fully retreat from this one. It looks like they caught Forev as well. Yapzor, he may be caught here by Hester Joe, leaps onto the cliff and will manage to TP his way out. Now it's Cloud9, full commitment forward. They've spent so many of their buybacks. They only have Rises, and they need to force Bears to use some of theirs, but Forev, he does not have buyback. So Cloud9 know, even though they don't have buyback on many of their heroes, they do have the numbers advantage as they push uphill.
No more time for Megas. The time is over. I think it's time for tier 4. No? Baby Knight? Thinking about it?
Baby Knight starts beating on the tier 3. Poke here from Yapzor and a pullback from Noya. They have so many ways to be able to react with these defensive supports. The pullback from Noya. Rise has that sleep and Glimmer Cape. Managed to get an Enfeeble off on Fada. That does a lot. They're going to take the tier 3, and it looks like maybe, just maybe, Bears may be giving up into Megas to be able to hold until Forev is back up. Now the initiation, BKB activated. Fada, he actually gets on it. Hester Joe here. Deafening Blasts aren't effective with the BKB still activated, but he manages to stop the Requiem of Souls, and Baby Knight's down. 2 minutes, no buyback. Fada, he goes for Ace up next, managed to get a lucky bash. Now Yapzor comes in. The BKB lasts a little bit long, but not long enough to stop this tornado with the Sunstrike. Ace is down as well. 2 minutes, and this could be the end. Bears, they've killed 2 cores with no buyback. Rise does have a buyback, but they're missing all of their damage. How can the 2 supports in the offlaner possibly hold against the 4-man of Bears as they just trample into the base, ready to take those objectives.
They're walking around. They should know that Razor and Shadowfiend don't both have buybacks, but they're backing up. They're afraid
waiting
of the
till
two
Forev.
supports in the offlane.
I think they're waiting for Forev, because why not? You know those heroes don't have buyback. You still have a full
True.
minute with Forev in the base with you. Bears want to make sure everything is above board here. Everybody is here ready to fight before
Dot
they
your
try to
eyes,
this.
cross your T's. One more Rax goes down, Fada. Thanks about tier 4s.
Hester Joe's going to have to make some sort of amazing Blink Blade Mail call play. And I don't even think that's going to be enough to kill any of these cores. They just seem to be too tanky. The tier 4s are going to go down. Cloud9 finally come forth. BKB activated by Hester Joe. Pops that Blade Mail, but you see Firo is only going to go down to maybe half health. They get comboed up by Slardar. Hits with a double crush, and that will be it. Cloud9, they brought Bears into their world, the late game world that they're so experienced with, but Bears still managed to hold in this game 1, 82.5 minutes, and it is finally over.
C9 and Bears both basically headbutting each other for 80 minutes straight. C9, I guess, cracked first. I don't think that they needed to go for that last lane of Rax in the top lane. Either they go for tier 4s and they basically immediately force out a buyback, or they play it safe like they have been for the first 80 minutes. But, I mean, they cracked. They both bought back on the Razor and the Shadowfiend. They both died, and then they all lost.
An epic game 1, the beginning of our Cloud9 versus Bears lower bracket final. An epic game between these two teams, very well played by both of them, and I am looking forward with much anticipation to game number 2. That, of course, will be after a short break.